Hello, fellow iceberg loungers. Welcome back to the Penguin Podcast. We're on episode 2. Hello, Andy. We're your host.
Hello.
How are you?
I am doing great. I hope the rest of the Quack Nation is doing all right out there. I mean, again, not that I would make fun of this penguin because he's terrifying, but I was like ice lounger. That's damn. That's a good term right there. But I'm doing good. Ready for more penguin talk, and hopefully, when this episode comes out, everyone in the world will have seen episode 1 and just finished episode 2. So I'm hoping everyone is enjoying this adventure so far. The clock is ticking. 6 more weeks.
Yeah, I am. The show keeps just each episode keeps getting better. I feel like we've got another banger on our hands. It gives me the same vibes that we like when I was watching Watchmen. Not quite the like epic, like oh my god, but like just like a very like I don't know. There's a sense of like I don't know. Like I'm very pleased with how they're developing this part of the universe because I know people were kind of poking fun at the epic crime universe or epic crime saga thing, but I don't know. It really works.
It's a nice name.
It's it's so gritty and nitty, but it makes sense for this specific kind of like corner of the universe. Like it should be gritty. It should be like noir and like dark and like tragic and darkly humorous. So I love the show already. It's fantastic. This episode was interesting. And by interesting, I mean we get to see more into Sophia's like backstory, which I'm so excited to keep diving into. We meet more characters. So yeah, let's just dive on in and talk about Oz meeting with Sal in prison. Sal's PO'd because homeboy framed him for Alberto's murder. And he's like, why did you just create this fucking war between what the fuck? What am I? And he's like giving him back his ring. He's like, well, you're wearing the ring around. It's such a clever. This is one of those moments where we see Oz being very, very, very smart and forward thinking. He's always thinking several steps ahead. And even if he's caught in a moment where he's surprised, he's really quick to think on his feet. I'm very much impressed with this version of Penguin. I don't know if we've ever seen a Penguin depicted this sinisterly clever and smart before. What do you think about that scene, Andy?
No, I agree because again, with all the live action penguins we've had, like I think, like Danny DeVito, I feel like it was too much of a like 50% of a comedic character, 50% of like a villain. Robin Lord, we already got to go to like the roots of him, but we never got because again, by the time
Right.
Bruce becomes Batman, we don't see more Penguin after that, and so. But with this guy, I feel like again, like they're trying to make sure that we understand that you know he may look a certain way or whatever, but like he's not to be underestimated. And I think again, like I love how he's like he's bad. He's pitting these two sides against each other, and and because people have such low expectations of him, they're not thinking like, well, oh, it's just him pulling some shit. They're thinking that it's generally the other side that's causing things. So yeah, when he goes there to see Sal and everyone, like he's just like, like he really like convinces them, like but like I've created you the perfect opportunity right here, like you will get some good shit from this. But meanwhile, like he's just like, oh, these fools are gonna burn themselves so hard, and it's, you know, like it will be interesting to see like if like either Falcons or Maronis can survive in this universe for that much longer, depending on what he cooks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun to watch him like play them all tap dance around each other as like criminals. Like it really is a power struggle. They describe the show as a power struggle between, or maybe it's just a power struggle in general. But like I specifically remember being a power struggle between Sophia and Oz. But really, it's a power struggle between like everyone scrambling in this vacuum that was created by Carmine's death. It's like actually kind of reminds me a little bit of what's going on right now. Like this will be airing the 29th, right? So I think but they'll still be relevant topic wise, but the takedown of Sean P. Diddy Combs is currently happening in America. For those who don't know who that is, he's responsible for a lot of hits. He's a producer. It's recently come out in the last couple of years that he's like been basically involved in human trafficking, like all kinds of kidnapping, arson, all kinds of awful things. And he's basically taken down, like he's literally gotten
He was
arrested
just arrested today, apparently.
today on the 17th, recording this. And there's already like moguls, people like stepping down or stepping back. Like it's an interesting thing when someone creates a criminal kind of underground network, how quickly, if that person goes down, how quickly everything falls. And that's kind of what we're seeing with Carmine and his death, and how everyone's scrambling for more power. The Falcones, when we meet Luca Falcone and Sofia Falcone and Johnny Viti and all them talking about what to do and how to respond and all this stuff, because to the Maroni stealing their thing. I think it's so interesting to see people scrambling for power. Because there is no line of succession in when a mobster dies, right? Like it doesn't matter. Like he obviously, Alberto was set up to be the next Don, but Oz kind of blew that plan up. So I think it's so interesting to see how they are all interacting, especially how Sophia interacts with her family, and that I think there was that scene where, hold on, sorry. Oh yeah, it was like where Luca showed up and Sophia's not happy. Viti is like, they're all just like chit chatting. What do you think about the Falcone family and how Sophia is kind of getting pushed aside by her uncle and the underboss and her cousin, underboss Johnny Viti? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much like like with some of these families, there is the traditional, well, I guess, sexism where, like, the men are always pushing, especially, when it comes to power play, they're always pushing the women to the side of, like, don't you worry, sweetheart, like, I'll take care. I don't know what the
Yes, no, it was good. That's good.
like, it's like, like, and I've seen, like, even, like, in a lot of Middle Eastern culture, like, sadly I've seen, where, like, the women don't get, like, they quickly get benched or sidelined, in professional careers, in personal matters and whatnot. It's always like, like, this is a man's job.
Mhm.
And I think that, the first, the more that they keep doing that to her, I think the more dangerous she is gonna get. I mean, I know we're gonna talk about it in a bit, but we see, what some of the stuff that Arkham did to her, and I think that they need to take notice. They need to take real notice that, like, the further the more you say no to her, the
Mhm.
the more I think she will retaliate in the end. So, um, again, this is not an easy character to play. This is not, again, I don't know much of Sophia from the comics, but, like, again, like, I mean, but I know much about the Falcons, because we've seen so much of that in so many different interpretations, and I'm like, you know, everyone wants a piece of the pie, but also they also want the pie. Each individual wants a pie for themselves,
Mhm.
and she,
No, that's
she's not even. Yeah, she's not even getting the opportunity to get, even try for a side. They're just like, no, we're gonna, we're just fighting for this, and so yeah, like, I mean, it's, again, it's, who would have known that Sofia Falcone in 2024 would have, would be, become such a fascinating DC character in a live
mhm.
action franchise like this. So I'm, yeah, no, yeah, and Kristen is just absolutely killing it as always.
Yeah, you brought up a good point. We can actually continue that. Sophia's experiences traumatized her. Her experiences in Arkham traumatized her. We will get an episode later on this season where we go in more depth of how that all occurred. But Sophia is known as the serial killer called the Hangman, responsible for the murder of multiple sex workers that worked in the Iceberg Lounge and the bar that's below, called Degree or something. I can't remember what it's called, but she is. So when with that framing, we see her lying, like wake up with scratching her throat. The fact that she sleeps in a closet, she is deeply traumatized, and these are just pieces of the puzzle to her who she is. And I think Sophia or Kristen plays her with such a haunting, but also haunting and sad, but also like I don't want her to look at me because I feel like if she looks at me, something bad's gonna happen to me. Like snakes will start manifesting in my house because something about her eyes, like she could play a witch. Something about her eyes are so haunting. It's just really good work from Kristen. Um, but yeah, I believe in this episode. Yes, I don't know if I wrote it down, but I know we brought up in episode 3. Actually, I'm gonna pause on that because that'll be towards the end. Um, Oz Stanley, Oz's mom. Let's talk about Oz's relationship with his mother a little bit more. She said something to me, or said something to him that like stuck out to me, and we learn a little bit more about Oz's motivation. Um, how his mother pushes him to be a criminal crime lord. Like she's like, do this. You are the boss. You are
Crime stage mom.
which is like not what I was expecting them to go in this direction, but it makes so much sense considering who the Penguin is or who Oz is as a character, as a person who is he has some deep insecurities and an inferiority complex that causes him to A, lash out like he did with Alberto in the last episode, but B, also react in kind, softer ways like he did with Vic, giving him a chance. Those are two sides of the same person who is so insecure because he needs that validation of people, like when he's talking about his dad and like walking around the neighborhood, everyone knew his name. His mom said to him, if my son's nothing, then what am I? Her own insecurities are infecting him and making him this way. Not that he's not to blame, because we're all responsible for our own healing and however we heal from our parents' upbringing was sometimes can traumatize us. But that scene like actually made me cry. And now I'm like, what is going on? I did not expect a Penguin show to make me cry. And there is something to for any kid that's ever dealt with a parent who never feels like you're good enough. That is going to hit you real hard. But that was beautiful to me. Well acted, just wonderful. Hold on, the actor who plays Penguin's mom. Hold on, let me make sure I highlight her. Yes, Deirdre O'Connell plays as Frances Cobb. She is wonderful. I think she's just fantastic. What do you think of that scene and how Oz is in general?
Yeah, no, I mean, because again, it goes back and forth between like, I'm fast, again, like, again, it is this is a super villain that we're not supposed to really root for him, but we're getting more of an understanding for him. Like again, like I go back to what we were talking last week about, um, we see someone like Joaquin Phoenix as a Joker. Again, like there's never a point where I ever feel bad for him because he, you know, he's a bit of a man baby in a lot of ways. Yeah, like he talks about like that society is against him, but I'm like, you have choices and you're making right now you're making the choice of killing people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but in Penguin's case, like he, I think that because we know, and that's the thing, the show is really giving it, and this is why I prefer television over movie storytelling, because I don't like
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like we don't get enough in just 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, something like Joker in 2 hours can become a phenomenon, but like again, it's not one of those things where, like, if I am to feel any sympathy for either, like, like either just to an example, it is Oz, because again, like he's pushing for survival because he probably grew up very poor in a very, again, like in his mom, and it sounds like his father was very, very complicated, um which kind of makes me, because again, I am still on episode 3 and I'm kind of hoping we get
Mm-hmm.
like, I like flashbacks. I'm hoping that maybe
Me
we,
too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I am, yeah, like that, when she says that, like I had to kind of like pause the episode and kind of like think like, oh shit, like, this is gonna, like that, this is, in the back of Oz's mind, this is gonna be like spiraling now for him, of like,
Mm-hmm.
like, now I have to be the best. Now I have to, like, I have to, whatever what I'm doing now, I have to succeed so that
Mm-hmm.
my mother can believe in herself. That's why I'm really hoping that something like the Mayor Oscorp storyline could happen, because like if he gets to the top of Gotham's power structure, then I think, what I mean, his mom is gonna always be like, oh my god, like, I raised my boy right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But again, like, again, and you talked about like getting emotional, and this is the type of material that I think is good for us to see from DC on, on television. Again, we, me and Vanessa, we are survivors of, and I really mean survivors of the CW era. Again, there's been a lot of good stuff, like, like Black Lightning, the early seasons of the Flash, and Arrow to some degree, and then everything else is kind of like in between.
Stargirl.
Sargo, that was
Such a good show. Yeah.
And but so now that we're moving over to HBO, and we're kind of looking at like, okay, because again, a lot of people were explaining the show to me as like, well, this is The Sopranos meets DC, and I never watched The Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, I'm like, well, if this is what we can get from other DC shows when they come to HBO, I'm like, then, and we're in for a treat. And like, again, like, again, we get one, again, it's so refreshing not to have like 42 minutes and garbage commercials. We get a one full hour episode of
Mm-hmm.
like, again, like it would be shocking to me to even see like when the Blu-ray and DVD comes out, like if there are like that many deleted scenes from each episode, because I'm like, well, I'm hopefully they were able to get everything that they wanted to get in. Um, but yeah, no, Oz's family life is very fascinating to me.
Yeah, agreed. I definitely agree with you. We are gonna move to the funeral, the Maroney kidnapping. Cheating. This if they would make I just need someone to be brave enough to make a real mob wives of Gotham City style show set like a just like real camera, but it's like all acting, but it's just like I need this so bad because just a little bit of drama. Johnny Beatty, you whore! Like, oh my god, like I cannot believe. But I want to before I get on to all this, I loved the protester signs. It's one of the funniest ones was Falcones equal fascists, which is hilarious. It also gives us an idea into how the citizens of the city viewed Falcone. And it means he's not like an underground criminal, which is why he was like the way he moved the way he did. He was like someone who had a lot of influence and people like a lot of bad influence and people recognize that. So I thought those signs were interesting. And there's also one that said hang the hangman, which obviously is pretty clear as to what that's referencing. But the Albert, like the way people were reacting to Sophia at her brother's funeral, everything from like, oh yes, her authorizing the kidnapping of a Maroney man, the conversations Sophia and Oz continue to have with each other, which kind of builds. He's so smart the way he talks to her, and she's like shutting him down, but he says things that appeals to her. He's very manipulative because he knows exactly what to say to get her to at least listen to him and to like rethink and consider, especially coupled with the fact that Luca and Johnny Vitti and all her male family members and her female family members, everyone's treating her like shit, like a crazy person. So I thought all of this was so interesting. And then we can dive through it, like shooting the Maroney man because Vic's plan with the car fell through. There was a lot going on in that scene. He was gonna pin it on Vitti because they found out they had files with Vitti's like fucking Luca's wife, which is fucking crazy. But yeah, let's talk about all of that. What are your thoughts on all of that?
I always love, because when it comes to cities in the DC universe, I feel like, because you can always make a city like a character almost in some of these. But for example, like Metropolis and Central City, for example, like they don't like they're so optimistic. They're not very dimensional to be.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Gotham City, because of what goes on in Gotham City, you can get so many different perspectives of, when you see someone like, Falcone's equal fascists, or you see people like Hang the Hangman, and the fact that there's people like willing to, protest, these
Mm-hmm,
characters that they know are mobsters, is
mm-hmm.
like, it shows some of the bravery of the citizens. And so that's what I really love. Like, most versions of Gotham City in live action always gets to be like, we see them as like a secondary character, which I always
Yeah.
appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the fact that they're like, like, bitch, we don't care if your brother died. Like, we don't want you here. We want you to be in that casket with him. I'm just like, again, like, this is a very brave Gotham City.
Yeah, yeah. I do love the way the city is built. Like you're right, the Central and Star City and national cities we got, they all kind of look the same. They didn't have enough depth and personality
Yeah.
because they were filmed in the same place. Gotham, I think every single director, anyone who's had their hands on Gotham has had the benefit of Gotham having so many layers built in over the years, all this lore built in over the years, that it's easy to just lift so much and build a really fleshed out city. You could set up a whole, an entire activation as a little mini Gotham where it has an iceberg lounge, a Mama Macaroni's, like just like little buildings and statues, gargoyles, a Wayne house, a Wayne mansion installation, the art museum, Arkham. There are so many places. You could ask any person that's watched a Batman property and be like, name a couple places that you would go to in Gotham. And I bet you they would probably be like, I don't know, Arkham Asylum. Like people know where their markers in Gotham that you can just set up and people and you can just feel it, right? Like I'm in Gotham City. That is such a, and that's I don't know what other city in existence, fictional city, I'm sorry, in existence has that level of detail, right? Like
Yeah.
Metropolis is almost on that level, but Gotham is so well thought out and so layered that it does feel like its own character. And I think like people bring that up because it is important. It's such an important part of Batman stories. Is not only is himself, the detective himself, but Gotham feeling like it's worthy of a protector like Batman, right? And that's not like I don't see it, some random set in Vancouver having the same feel for that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, and I think we, like, for context, for people listening, like, Vancouver, that's where a lot of Arrowverse shows were filmed, and it's like, I honestly, by the time we got to like season 6 of Arrow, or like season 8 of Flash, or season, whatever of Supergirl, I was like, I haven't even been to Vancouver, but I feel like I've walked through the city, and I'm
mhm.
tired of Vancouver. So like when I see like, well, for example, like when I watch Peacemaker season 1, because I just actually finished binging it, like that is actually in Vancouver, but they,
It is.
yeah. Oh
Oh.
no, oh now Vanessa's like, oh, now I'm disappointed.
No, I'm
um,
not. I just that they did a really good job. I didn't even know. I didn't know.
yeah, they
I
pick
didn't
they
realize.
pick newer locations because, again, like, with a, like a show on HBO Max, they obviously have more resources than the CW does, so they
Mhm.
can rent more locations.
So,
But like
yeah.
when you look at something like The Penguin, where I'm like, I I can't tell you where any of this is filmed. Like, this could be parts in UK that the Batman original filmed in, and then there's parts in America that are filming and whatnot. So, for me, like, I need, I want these cities, again, like, again, it's not to like knock on, Central City or Metropolis or whatever. So, but it's like, if we're, like Vanessa, we're talking about, like, and again, Warner Bros., you just got like a shit ton of recommendations from Vanessa for free for marketing purposes that you can
Right.
use at
It's
next
to a
year's
Gotham
Comic
City
Con.
installation. Little
Yeah,
Gotham.
it's not just like, I wished we had known each other back in 2018 and gotten to Comic Con together, because at that
Aw.
Comic Con they
I
had the
was
DC
at that
Universe.
Comic Con. We just
You
didn't
were,
know each other
yeah,
yet.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
But like, did you go to the DC Universe activation where like they had like Dick Grayson's
Yes, yes, and Starfire, and I have pictures of it. Oh my god, that was such a good year, and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the year I met Tatiana. I met her that year.
Oh yeah, well, there you go. We just had to wait till
I know we just missed each
we
other.
had to wait to watch Matt. We had to wait to watch Matt. But yeah,
Right. It was
but I
something
remember
like
like things like that. Like, there are infamous locations in Gotham that you can use, but like if you do like a Metropolis activation, like there's just the Daily Planet, honestly. Like,
put some respect on that one
no, I
dude
love Daily Planet.
bar. There's
I
like a
love Daily.
bar. There's the Fortress of Solitude. There's Lex.
Right, but
There's Lex Laboratories.
we're talking about like
Star
Metropolis
Labs.
specifically.
Star
Oh,
Labs
see,
belongs in
the,
Metropolis.
the thing is, like, now because of the Flash, like I just feel like, oh, Star Labs is just, like,
And I know. Star Labs is over. It's too much. I'm tired. So we have 17 different versions of Star Labs now because of Titans, the Flash.
Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure even
Anyway,
Black Lightning had Star Labs at one point. Oh,
yes.
Naomi had,
Naomi. Yes, Naomi had
yeah,
yeah, we've literally
yeah,
seen like at least 4 different versions of Star Labs on the CW slash DC Universe slash Max alone. Like that, just in that
yeah.
section, we've seen at least 4 or 5 different versions of Star Labs. But anyway, we probably won't be seeing a Star Labs in Penguin. Most likely not. Yeah.
No, I mean that would be like, unless like Matt Reeves decides to make like Mr. Freeze like a scientist in Star Labs or something. But like for me, like, I'm tired of Star Labs. I'm tired of Argus. But of course Argus is coming back. Um,
This is just CW trauma, baby. This is
this
CW
is
trauma.
this is very traumatic. Like, you know, like, it's been a good. This is like, I haven't watched a CW show all year until Super Low season 4. Like, I've seen the first episodes of that. But I'm just like, but even there, like, we don't have as much of Starlad and the CW presence that we
Yeah.
usually see. But like with Penguin, like, yeah, Gotham feels like a character, and it's nice to see different divisions of the citizens, because again, it's like, yeah, like, if you have extras, use them. Like, you don't have to make them big here, to just like show the, like, how do they view the Falcons, how do they view the Baronians, like which side are they most afraid of, for example.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So lastly,
Poor Victor, by the way, because,
oh
man, like,
yeah.
he had to
He's
like,
trying. Oh,
he,
we didn't really discuss in the first episode his stutter. And also the fact that the show is showcasing a couple of main characters. Yeah, 2 main characters that have disabilities, which is I think is pretty cool, and not making a huge. And I think that his stutter and making it a part of his personality and not like making fun of it or what. I think it's such an interesting and well thought out way to have his character. He don't not only has anxiety, but he has trauma. He has so much going on, and then he has a stutter that he has to work through. And then obviously Oz has his leg predicament. What is it? What is it? What's the proper term for like a leg disability?
Oh, a prosthetic.
Is it a prosthetic?
Or
I
it's
think
not a
it's just a
prosthetic.
thing.
It's,
It's
it's
like a
a
thing
some
that like straightens his leg. I don't think his leg is missing. I think it's like a
yeah.
metal brace. It's like a brace. It's a metal brace.
Yeah, it's a metal brace so that he keeps his foot because he can't put his toes down because
Yeah, yeah.
you know go
Right.
back and watch episode 1. Everyone who's listening, like it was again the
Anyway.
fact that it's all prosthetics and makeup and
Hmm.
it's not none of it is CGI. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is Mike Messino like made of? Like the fuck? Um,
Yeah.
but
And
Victor, but
then,
also Victor also has to be um a black kid in Gotham City, because again the thing like people they don't they don't make enough of a point that he's a teenager. This is a kid. This is
mhm,
not like someone who just
he's a high
graduated high
schooler.
school
Yeah.
and shit.
He's literally, I think he's 17 or 18. Like he's a child. He's a kid.
Yeah,
Um, he's trying his best. But one, yeah, didn't he? Oz is such a dickhead. Like he gives him a chance, but he does like he's scared. He uses tactics like the whole grave thing or like the digging thing. And
yeah.
Oz is smart pinning it on Sophia's guy. So that's another thing. Oz is kind of isolating Sophia a little bit. Like her family's isolating her, but Oz is doing a great job of isolating her because he pins the Maroney's man's death on Sophia's bald-headed dude that tortured him in episode one.
Castillo and yeah, the only reason I remember because like I'm not gonna kid you right now, he's kind of fine.
Yeah, he's a good looking. That's a good looking man.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I was kind of like, oh, now I kind of want to become a criminal because
all the
no, no,
criminals
no, no,
are hot.
that dude is so jacked and like, but he also
Yeah.
has the deepest eyes that I'm kind of like, damn, Sophia,
Anyway, R.I.P. Because yeah, Oz
yeah,
is smart, right? Oz continuously shows how brilliant he is, and
yeah,
evil, not evil, sinister. I don't know if we can call Penguin evil yet, but maybe we'll see. There's a couple.
calculative.
We'll have to. We can discuss that later.
I would
But
say he's calculating right now. He's not evil.
calculating,
Yeah,
yeah.
because evil will like there. Like when I see evil, like like there, I always associate with some kind of kind of craziness to it. But right now, like
No, you don't have to
he
be crazy to be
like
evil.
no, I'm not saying that, but like there's like a crazy element to like, but like some of their actions or some of their plans are like
Well, I would
can get
say like
in.
we'll see. We can just. That's what I'm saying. Let's table this discussion for a future after a future episode. We can discuss, okay? Because there's some stuff that he does that is borderline. Anyway, so yeah, he definitely I continues to isolate Sophia. He punishes Vic for not following through the plan, having him have a pivot very quickly.
I was so scared because I was like, what if they actually?
I know,
Because it gave me my mind like he's a serious regular, he's a serious regular, he's a serious regular, but
I
like
know. I had to
you know,
remember that. So I was like, he's in every episode, or I think I don't remember. I haven't actually looked because I don't like to look at spoilers. But so yeah, then we have Sophia and Oz talking in her family crib, and they're basically gonna work together for the foreseeable future. So we'll see how that goes. What was your overall thoughts on this episode?
I again, it could I almost wish that this could have been a two part premiere for the people. I mean, you and I, we have the luxury, we can watch. We
Yeah.
can watch as back to back. But I think that this would have been a fun way to do it as like a back to back on HBO. But like no, it is so fun to have good DC content again. It's because it's but 2023, oh y'all, that 2023 was not easy. We had free shitty movies. The best DC movie got crap. Affected by the strike, which is Blue Beetle.
Mm,
And the CW era is coming to an end because Nexstar wants to do reality shows. So
yeah.
good luck with that. But with Penguin, like it's just like I know people we've been there's been a lot of talks about like people talk about like it takes like 2 years now to get a new season of a TV show, whatever and so on. The wait for this show is worth it because because I read somewhere today that originally some of the plot points of Penguin was going to be in like the first act of the Batman, and I'm like, oh
That
thank God. I'm like,
mhm.
thank God they actually spin this out as a show, because
Yeah.
this way makes I love movies. I really do love movies, but like television, just I love that we get more breathing room. I love breathing room where it's like it's not a binge show. Like it's not like all
Yeah.
8 episodes dropped at once and then it's over. Like now, like because now we get to do the fun things of like we get to speculate again, we get to have
Mhm.
theories, we get to you know make predictions of like what where a certain storyline could lead or whatnot. So yeah, this Matt Reeves and Laura LaFranc they cooked. They've cooked with a
Mhm.
show, and God, I hope Lauren is back for more Batman stuff. Like after this, like like yeah, fuck,
Yeah, we'll see. We might be
give
getting more in that universe. We'll see. I
yeah.
want
What were your overall takes on of this episode? Yeah, this seemed like with a lot of emotional points for you, and but how did you feel about it as a whole?
I liked it a lot. This was a really good episode. I feel like it just keeps impressing me. Everyone's doing such good acting work. Like I love the Maronis. I love the way they're casted. The casting of the Maronis is very, very, very good.
I
And the
love Nadia, like not just because because it's cool
she's
hearing
yeah,
Farsi in Gotham City. I'm sorry, but like
yeah, but
I
it's also
cannot.
she's so commanding too. Like she fucking owns every room. She even when she's in prison with her husband, she's just like she owns the room. And yes,
The king looked to his queen
mhm,
for like
yeah,
shall we do this and like again, I'm sorry, but I mean, listen, we're people of color. When we need to talk about it, we need to talk about it. Again, it's fucking unbelievable hearing Farsi in Gotham City. Again, it's like, because, I'm under embargo, I can't show my parents this yet. But
oh
like, I
yeah,
kind of want to be like, hey, look, this is a Batman TV show. Like, just, watch it, pay attention because they always get excited when they see
yeah.
Persian representation,
It's
anything. Like,
representation. It's
yeah,
amazing.
they were like their ears would like perk up and be like, oh. They gave it they kind of do the head tilt like oh okay and they love this actress so like they know who she
Yeah,
is.
she's so good. I think a fun thing about the Maronis, the way, like you said, like he looks to his queen. This is such a stark opposite. We'll learn more of like how Sal Maroni, and Carmine Falcone moves opposites. They have different family values, right? Like the Maronis are like so interconnected in such a little community, and they have each other's back down to the like. She went hard for one guy. She's like, bring our man back. Carmine Falcone views all of his people as expendable. It doesn't matter. It's get mine, fuck the rest of you guys. So I think that is such an interesting contrast that I know we will continue to explore the rest of the season because it is so interesting. But the Maronis are fun. Everyone's casted wonderfully. Johnny Vitti sucks, but he's such a good acting guy. He's like the guy who plays he was in House of Cards. He was also a creep in that show too. There's a lot of creeps in that show, but it was such a it was just yeah. So anyway, that is just like anyway. This episode is fantastic.
I have one couple I want to talk about that I want to get your takes on because I was like
Okay.
I don't know if I don't know if I was disturbed by it or just very curious about it. Like when we meet, because we meet in the what we think is a dream, but it's what is a flash, but it's actually a dream of Sophia remembering, like seeing her brother getting shot, and then we get to this, we introduced her to this doctor.
Theo,
Um,
yeah. Or I'm sorry, Julian Rush. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Are they? Are
There's
they?
vibes. There's vibes.
Yeah,
There's
because I'm like,
vibes. Yeah.
why is he like? I'm not used to seeing therapists or psychologists like kind of like
It's unethical, but I'm not
old.
surprised. Arkham therapists are extremely unethical people. I don't think you can hire an Arkham doctor or psychiatrist without having being a little bit morally corrupt, because in order to like have to keep that shitty hospital running, you can't have someone actually coming in there to try and do good work. Mostly, like it was actually like a good point that Harleen, a graphic novel a few years ago, made, where most of these doctors are usually coming in. They're not trying to help the people. They're trying to get
A
famous off
black label.
they
It's
can
a black
solve.
label book, right?
It's a
Where
black label book.
she's holding up like a mask, right?
Yes,
Oh,
it's
I
so
have it. I
good.
have it.
That one is and it makes a good point of how a lot of these doctors come into Arkham not to help the patients, but to get more, to either get famous off of solving their problems or to write books off of them. It's basically to profit off of them some way, shape, or form. So no one's actually fucking trying to help these people. So I feel like Julian has his own motives and like things, and we will learn more about the relationship as we go into the season. But there are vibes. I caught that too.
There was a line that stood out with me with Sophia when she said, like, I'm not safe, I'm home.
Yep. And I know how many girls and women that have to go back home to visit family or whatever feel the same fucking way.
That was when I like one of the realest moments of of Gotham City, where like, oh shit, like they kind of just broke a wall here, where like I'm sure like a lot of people out there could relate to. And again, like and like she just like stares at Julie and says,
Yeah, fine.
I'm not safe, I'm home.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, that's again, could you like could you believe that we would have these kind of like deep conversations about Falcons and Maronis in 2024? Like, you know,
Yeah,
again, this is why I'm glad. Like, like I don't know, I didn't know that people were actually making fun of the Batman Epic Crime Saga name.
yeah.
But
It sounds silly.
this is a DC
I think it's
crime
just too many
universe.
words. It doesn't flow together. People are quick. People are used to snappy, quick things like
The
MC. Yeah,
MCU.
just quick stuff and not the epic crime universe. People don't like to read. You know how people are. Anyway,
Some people don't even know how to read.
exactly.
Hi, Leah Michelle. But
Allegedly, don't get us sued here. Anyway, all right. If you have questions, emails, tweets, messages, hit us up on at DC Studio Podcast because we're want to like hear your guys' thoughts. I'll also trying to send out tweet reminders to like see if we get some reader feedback, listener feedback. Yeah. Visit Multiversal Color for the latest news, info about DC Studios TV shows, films, comics, and other projects. Covering all kinds of stuff. Follow us on social media by going to Multiversal Color at DC Studio Podcast on Twitter /X. At the Multiversal Color on Instagram /Threads, and DC Studios Podcast plus Multiversal Color on Facebook. We have interviews and shorts on our YouTube channel at Multiversal Color.
and more is coming.
And more is coming. We're trying to increase more of our video content, just while you're seeing our beautiful faces. And yeah, subscribe to our DC TV podcast mega feed on Apple Music, Stitcher Radio, Google Podcasts, everywhere else where you find podcasts. Give us 5-star reviews because that helps us. And
And
we
why
have
are you listening? Like I've seen the download. You're all listening. Come on, like just we we
right,
know
support us.
we know you love us. We know that we know you're obsessed with us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So yeah, just email us, tweet us. We have DC Studios Podcast at gmail.com. Email us for feedback or tweet at us or message us on Facebook or write a comment. Send up a carrier pigeon. Send up a prayer.
or you can equip it to a penguin, and
note.
a penguin can
Yeah, waddle on over. Before we go, where can our listeners find you, Andy, on social media?
They can find me at Android on all social media platforms. I am a senior writer and interviewer for ScreenRant.com, and so check out all my coverage of superhero content of DC and Marvel. I'm also the host of the Showrunner Whisperer, which you can find here on multiversecolor.com as an original podcast. Right now it's on a little hiatus, but we have 10 amazing episodes with lots of showrunners that you can catch if you haven't tuned into the show yet. And I'm also now back to streaming on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube at AnimeBite as I stare at my beautiful new gaming PC, and I'm like, I'm gonna, listen, I'm not a good gamer, but like, I will play video games and stuck at it. So join me on my new experience of gaming and just chatting and meeting other streamers, because there's some really cool people out there. Vanessa Shork. Where can people find you on social media and all your other projects?
Oh man, this is the only one I'm active on. There's so many other podcasts, but I am only active on this one currently. But we have other ones you can check out.
You can find me at Shork.
Shork. You can find me at Vanessa Shork. Vanessa Shork.
That's brother Nate says that. He says
I know. Shork. Yeah. On Twitter, Instagram, other.
Are you on Threads?
I'm on who? Threads. Yes, I'm on Threads as well. I have a TikTok. I don't post on it, but whatever. You can follow me on there as well if you want. I have a website, bestshark.com, which I have not posted on forever, but maybe I will soon. And yeah, I will be posting penguin reviews and things of that nature on the site, and hopefully some interviews, perhaps. I don't know. Been quiet lately for me. Yeah,
it's been quiet for me too. But hey, listen,
I'm busy in my professional life, so I'm like trying to keep things quiet. But yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, we don't play. We're coming with you. This has been a very good year for Multiverse of Colors. So so you can just not to get zappy, but like thank you for everyone who, if you're listening to this and you're listening to all of our products or reading all our stuff on the website, we massively appreciate that. So
Yeah.
I hope you're enjoying Penguin. Sundays at HBO. I love it. I get to be part of that now because I never. Besides Watchmen, I never watched the Game of Thrones or anything like on Sundays, and I'm like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm like, why are people watching stuff on Sundays? I'm like, oh, it's because it's HBO night.
Exactly. We know how it is. All right. Cool.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.